Welcome to TestTube Plus, everybody. I'm Trace. This week is Mars Week. Today we want to know, is going to Mars worth all of the money? Is space travel actually worth the money? It's the big question. We get this one on D-News all the time. I've done whole videos just about what we get back from spending money on space travel. But let's play devil's advocate. Money is a huge driver of anything in space. SpaceX is great, but it's funded by a really rich guy, and also now contracts with NASA. But for the most part, throughout its history, it wasn't funded by contracts from NASA. It was funded just because somebody wanted to build it. Going to space is expensive. We spent 4.5% of the whole federal budget in the late 60s on space travel. Today, it's less than 1/2 of 1%, which is less than half a penny for every dollar in taxes goes to space travel or space research. It's really expensive to go to space. Yeah, we could go to the moon, but that cost a lot more than what we're spending on NASA now. Not to mention, space travel takes forever. I mentioned in an earlier segment that when you go to Mars, you're going a lot farther than going to the moon. It takes months or weeks to get there. You will be dead before you get to anywhere outside of our solar system. I mean, you can't go anywhere else with current technologies. No matter how fast we can make you go, chemical rockets cannot take us to another place. No matter how much money you have, people will die before you get there. Mars, its distance ranges from 50 million kilometers to 400 million kilometers. Ranges depending on where Earth is in its orbit and Mars is. So at the farthest away, it takes months or years to get there. Another star? There's no way. No way. If it takes almost a year to get to Mars, to get to another star, we're talking like thousands of years, assuming we can go fast enough to make that even worthwhile. The only human thing to leave the solar system, Voyager 1, we debated for years if it had even left the solar system yet. Because we don't know. This is the furthest thing away from us that we've ever made, and it's currently still maybe in the helioshock just outside of our solar system, and it was launched in the late 70s. So it's been traveling really fast for a long time with a small nuclear fuel power source, and it's still not that far away in the grand scheme of space. So you'd be dead if you tried to go anywhere in space. So is it worth the money to spend to have to make generations of people live in space? It takes a lot of technology, and if everybody knows, machines do one thing really well. All machines, they fail. And if you are outside of Jupiter and something goes wrong, how do you fix it? You can't. You're dead. That's it. All this technology takes time to develop. It costs money. And we can only take so many people at a time. We can't all go to space. So you're taking very small groups of people for a lot of money over a long time, and it costs more than $1,000 per pound and as much as $10,000 per pound to launch someone off of the surface to get into space. It's really, really expensive to go up there. I mean, all of these other big companies that I mentioned, they're working to bring the costs down, but it still costs a lot. So money is the biggest factor. The second biggest factor is human lifespan. We don't live long enough to go anywhere more interesting than our own planets. There is a project working for this, though, one of my favorite projects in all of science. It's called the 100-Year Starship Project. Mae Jemison, she's a former astronaut, a shuttle astronaut. She's an amazing human being. She is the director of the 100-Year Starship Project, and they're looking to fund, brainstorm, and plan to send humans to another star system within a century. They just started, so they got a lot of time left, but they're not sitting around. They're thinking about how to make propulsion systems that go faster, how to understand the psychological problems of living in a small space for most of your life, which is what we're looking at this moment. And they're also looking at things like policy and politics. If you have 100 people on a giant ship and they're flying toward Alpha Centauri, how do they decide how to resolve problems when they come up? What if someone dies and they had a job? Who takes their job? These are questions they'll have to answer if they're ever going to go to another star, let alone another planet. But it's really exciting. If you think about it, they're basically building a new civilization to do this. So they're forming their plans, they're looking into technology, scientists from around the world are working together to try and find a way to get humans safely to another place in our galaxy, which is just incredible. Which brings me back to what I said earlier. If you put a human on another planet, you have changed the world. And we might have to do that. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you are still looking for more Mars, subscribe now. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how Mars could be our only life raft once the Earth is uninhabitable. Subscribing is the best way to get that to you, so make sure you do it. And to see yesterday's video on why Mars is better than Venus, click here. Thank you for watching.